Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. We're going to be diving into the Arsenal transfer roundup, where we dive into the biggest stories around Arsenal in the transfer market in the last 24 hours. Fabrizio has just confirmed that Arsenal have changed the plan for medicals for Ricardo Calafiori once again. The medicals will take place on Saturday, not today, because of a few changes here and there. We'll talk about that. Mikel Merino to Arsenal is now 100% likely to happen than not. We'll also talk about Victor Gyökeres. Arsenal have sent scouts to watch him tomorrow as they play against Atletico Bilbao. And then we'll also dive into the Fabian Ruiz stories and also the Nico Williams stories as well. Hit that button, subscribe to the channel. Arsenal making moves, lots happening in the transfer window. Let's dive into it. Let's start off with that small update from Fabrizio, who has just confirmed that Arsenal have changed the plan for medicals for Ricardo Calafiori once again. The player will undergo medicals, his first part of the medicals, tomorrow in London, and that is on Saturday, and then he'll fly to the USA. So I think there was a bit of a delay in terms of the schedule. They had planned that his medicals would happen today, and maybe probably fly tomorrow or fly even today to the USA. That is not going to happen, and that means that Ricardo Calafiori for the Manchester United game is 100% now ruled out. You don't expect him to see him in that game. You'll see him in the Liverpool game. But the big story today has been around Mikel Merino. This is what is coming out of Spain today. They're saying that Mikel Merino and Arsenal have reportedly agreed personal terms, and a fee is close to being agreed between the two clubs. The sale of ESR will see a narrative change in the acceleration in the media. That is according to GT Talks FC. Now, what I want to say about this is I don't think the deal is advanced at that level, and we are going to go with the Charles Watts report that he actually gave us today, because Charles Watts said Arsenal really feel that they are going to get this deal done. It's one they feel after Ricardo Calafiori, they're going to work on it and they will get it 100% done. And that's why I've said that in the title, that this deal could happen 100%. This deal is happening for Arsenal 100%. Arsenal are really clear and they're really confident on all fronts that they're going to get Mikel Merino. His priority, he's the player that Mikel Arteta said to the board, I want to sign him. I want us to change the strategy from only signing young players to also adding a bit of experience to add that level to the sign. And eventually, the board accepted, the board agreed, and I don't see how Mikel Merino doesn't join Arsenal now. So the reports that are saying ESR matters, I also think that's true. I've never been convinced ever that we are going to get two midfielders. I think it's going to be one of them. We'll talk about Fabian Ruiz later, but I think most likely we get either Merino or Fabian Ruiz. And at the moment, I can feel it. It's going to be Mikel Merino. I think he's the player that Mikel Arteta loves most. He's the player Mikel Arteta wants most as well. And I know many of you in the comments have been telling me, Cossy, this guy is this, Fabian Ruiz is that. But when the manager asks for a specific profile of a player, and he asks for a specific player, he's got his reasons. He has his reasons, right? He asked for Kai Havertz. That is not going so bad anyway. He asked for Odegaard. Odegaard is doing well. He asked for Timber. Timber is okay. And a couple of other signings as well. So let's trust Mikel Arteta. He says Mikel Merino is the one. Let's trust him on that. But just to give you a humble recap of what's going on with Mikel Merino, where are we? Arsenal have already sent a proposal to Mikel Merino a couple of days ago on personal terms that was sent in on 23rd of July. Today is the 26th of July. So 3 days ago, Arsenal sent in the offer on personal terms. We don't have the green light yet, as a couple of other teams, by the way. Atletico Madrid as well sent in their proposal for personal terms, and they also sent in an offer for Real Sociedad for Mikel Merino. They have not got a response yet, according to Spanish sources, but they are there and they are trying. So why I'm saying that this is 100% happening, I don't see Arsenal really focus on any other deal after Ricardo Calafiori, apart from Mikel Merino. And we know where Arsenal put their focus these days, where Arsenal put their energy, it usually pays off. It usually turns into good returns. I think gone are the days when we wanted Lisandro Martinez, goes to Manchester United. We wanted Rafinha, he goes to FC Barcelona. I think Arsenal have really progressed in terms of being attractive as a club and also the way we sell the project. I think Mikel Arteta is doing a wonderful job. So the phone calls that that Mikel Arteta had with Mikel Merino, and then those few steps we have made towards Sociedad and towards the player as well in the last 72 hours. I think that was enough to convince him. I can feel all the energy in the media reporting towards Arsenal and reporting in favor of Arsenal. And why I also think that this deal is very serious is we are now starting to see a couple of mainstream media and mainstream journalists, Fabrizio, Team News, and Charles Watts, start to kind of give us a few punches in this deal. And the punches that they're giving us are actually not very far away from what the small media outlets are actually saying in Spain. Because when you think about Charles Watts, he's just said, this one is one Arsenal are going to work on or believe they can get done after the Ricardo Calafiori deal. Fabrizio, he didn't say Arsenal are going to get it done, but he said it's one that Arsenal would love to work on. And after Ricardo Calafiori deal, we could see this one progressing in terms of contacts. And then Team News says the deal is pretty much closer and closer and closer as compared to what other outlets are saying. And The Athletic obviously have said Arsenal wants him. So you can see that the big media houses, of course, they're not committing. I've not seen Sky report about Mikel Merino. I've not seen a report for them. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm saying I've not seen it. But what I'm trying to say here is that you can see that the big boys in the media are also trying to pick up on this story. Just like the Ricardo Calafiori deal. Ricardo Calafiori's deal, initially, it wasn't Fabrizio. It wasn't The Athletic. It wasn't, I think it was Team News and Ticks initially who reported about it. And then we saw the likes of, Get Italian News, start reporting about it. We saw Tutto Mercato Web. Then, there is one Juventus outlet that really reports close to Juventus that broke the story. And slowly but surely, the stories broke into the media. And that actually brings out what we've been talking about all summer. When it comes to stories close to the club, the journalists closer to the club this summer are not getting as many exclusives as compared to to the journalists that are working with the clubs that have the players that we want to sign. So this summer, you look like, okay, David Ornstein has been quiet about the Calafiori deal. He gave us like one exclusive. Was it an exclusive? Yeah, it was one exclusive. Then he gave us another exclusive on ESR, and the rest of the reports have been coming from Italy, and the rest of the reports have also been coming from clubs that are near Arsenal and are near the deal that want to do the deal as well. So it looks like Arsenal want to keep their cards closer to their chest. I don't have a problem with that as we get to do the deals. Sorry. Now, have we agreed personal terms? I'll say not yet. I don't trust the source that has given us this one. Have we agreed a fee? Definitely not yet. If Arsenal agree a fee, that is an exclusive from David Ornstein. If Arsenal agree personal terms, that is an exclusive from Fabrizio Romano. But I can say that it's a deal I'm convinced now is 100% happening. Another deal that is starting to get into my system is the not Fabian Ruiz. Is the I was about to say Ricardo Calafiori as well. It's the Victor Gyökeres deal. Victor Gyökeres' deal is starting to get into my system slowly but surely. Now, I was talking to Glenn, I think it was like 3 days ago, and he was telling me that it feels like Gyökeres will sign for Arsenal like 60%. He feels confident 6 times out of 10 Arsenal will sign Victor Gyökeres. And I told him that's a little bit too far. That's a little bit too optimistic. I might not be following on to that board. But where things are going, I think Arsenal are really serious about Victor Gyökeres. Put all these other, Sesko trash aside. I think Arsenal are really in for Victor Gyökeres. So Arsenal have sent scouts to go and watch Victor Gyökeres as he plays tomorrow for Sporting Lisbon against Atletico Bilbao. That game will happen tomorrow on Saturday at exactly 9:30. So if you want to watch it and you want to watch Gyökeres, you can go and watch that game. I will watch it and I will watch him because I want to have a clearer look when he plays a better side, but I also want to see him ever since he came out of injury. Now, of course, for Arsenal, they're saying that the primary reason as to why they're sending scouts to watch him is because they're looking at his knee surgery and they're looking at his injury recovery and process, and they're saying, where are you in terms of recovering? Where are you in terms of coming back? But I don't think Arsenal would be wasting time on a player that they don't want to sign. I don't think Arsenal would be wasting time scouting a striker that they don't mean to sign. The reason as to why we're scouting him, the reason as to why we are focusing on him this summer is because we want to get him. Now, shall we get him? That's a different question. Can we get him? That's a different question as well. If I try to answer both questions, shall we get him? That depends on time. I think time will tell. If Arsenal maybe look at their financial package and maybe look at their priority areas and say, yeah, he's an area of priority, then we'll splash the money there. But if Arsenal feel like, he's not really an area of priority, he's not a player that we really think we should be signing this summer, then I won't be surprised if Arsenal don't dedicate a big part of the budget. Can we get him? For me, I think we can. I think financially we are there, but we've started hearing that Arsenal want to do loan deals with obligations. That speaks into something. That tells you that Arsenal financially want to be safe. Arsenal financially don't want to commit into paying a lot of money for players this summer. Hence, Mikel Merino, who's cheap, Fabian Ruiz, who's cheap, Ricardo Calafiori, who's 42 million euros, that's a little bit cheap as well, and a couple of other players. You see, you look at our targets and you're like, there is a pattern of Arsenal not wanting to spend a lot of money. But let's see what happens. Will we open talks with Sporting after watching him for Atletico Bilbao? I want him to score. I'm dying to see him score, because if he scores again, Arsenal will open up their mind, Arsenal will open up their brains and go, we've got to splash money on him. But maybe if he doesn't score, the scouts could say, listen, I think, he's been retarded due to the surgery, due to the injury and all that, but I want him to score. And again, I support Arsenal to watch him, because he's coming from a difficult situation. He's coming from a difficult, surgery. You don't want to risk it. You really, really don't. Now, the Fabian Ruiz story. Let's talk about Fabian Ruiz as well, because in the last 24 hours, he's been one of the players that have been absolutely in the news. Reported by, Foot Mercato, reported by Duncan Castles and a couple of other reliable journalists. The news we got today is that PSG are 100% willing to sell. If Arsenal offer what they want, they will get the player. So PSG are willing to sell. However, Foot Mercato are saying they don't have any information of personal terms being agreed. They don't have any information of a meeting between Arsenal and and PSG. So maybe we don't have personal terms agreed. Maybe we don't have a meeting, according to Foot Mercato, who are again closer to PSG. But what we know, there is mutual interest, and this interest has been reported in all media outlets, right? All media outlets are saying Arsenal wants him. All media outlets are saying, he is available for sale. And I think with Mikel Arteta here, he might be trying to do kind of a genius. He got Kai Havertz, that didn't work, and he's gone to the market and said, how about if I get a midfielder that will not cost us a penny this summer? Listen, that will not cost us a penny this summer, and I turn Kai Havertz into a striker. If it works out, it's a win-win. It's a win-win for Mikel Arteta. It's a huge win for Mikel Arteta, because ideally the situation would have been Kai Havertz turns into a striker and Arsenal spend again a lot of money in the midfield, maybe 80 million on Bruno Fernandes, maybe 90 million on Bruno Fernandes, or something like 70 million on Joao Neves. But Arsenal might spend less than 30 million on two midfielders, or maybe on one midfielder, that's Fabian Ruiz, and everything will be okay. Everything will be in place. So Mikel Arteta is trying to play some, quite intelligent game. Let's wait and see if that one's going to happen for him as well. Now, I want to talk about the Nico Williams situation just a little bit. I'm bored of it, obviously. So, Team News and Tix has said Arsenal will not move for any winger until the Nico Williams deal to Barcelona either happens or fails. The reason for that is that Arsenal feel they can get Nico Williams. They can still get Nico Williams as they know the deal is going to be difficult for Barcelona. Why don't we learn? Like, really, why aren't we learning from some situations? Rafinha, Barcelona was still financially crippled, but somehow, right? Somehow, they managed to take Rafinha away from us. Which other player? Lisandro Martinez. Manchester United came in later. Arsenal came in first for the butcher, and somehow the player chose Manchester United. I think Arsenal need to understand that every player you must compete for. That's okay on the market. But there are players that have set their minds on another team, like Lisandro, like Rafinha, like Nico Williams. So I don't think we should wait. I think we should move for Federico Chiesa. But let me know your thoughts in the comment box below.